Hello friends, welcome to my channel Sushant Chesswise. Today onwards we are going to start a new topic. We are going to look at the games which I played in the recent Matrix Cup tournament and we will start discussing them one by one. So from these games we will try to see how much calculation one should do in the games, how I fared in the tournament, and after the games how I analyze those games with engines, of course. Everyone analyzes their games with engines. I'll show you some points, what I calculated and what I should have done, so it can be useful for you. So let's get started with the first game here. I was black in this game and the game started with d4, nf6, c4, e5. My opponent's rating is around 1450. So let's see. The main move here is d takes e5, but my opponent chooses to play nf3. After nf3, I play the move e4. ed is also reasonable, but e4 is part of my preparation. So after e4, nd2, d5, we have a position resembling the French classical reversed. Soon there will be e3 and maybe black goes c6. Now I don't play c6 here. I generally allow cd, and to cd I do bd6. My opponent played nc3 first, and after nc3 too I did bd6. I was considering what is the difference if nd5 is played, nd5, nd5, cd, then I can do bishop f5, or even the move f5 is handy over there. So my opponent took c takes d5. Now we have to protect the e4 pawn, so of course bishop f5 is necessary. I did consider the move e3 briefly, but after fe I completely missed the move nd5. I was only thinking of knight h5. But see, after nd5, the computer was showing the move knight d5. I realized, okay, nd5, qh4 is winning, but then I was not very sure about the line nf3 or even the move nde4 for that matter. And the position is not that great for black. But I should have seen the move nd5. I went bishop f5 here, protecting e4 simply. Black should overprotect the square e4. And then castle queen e7 if e4 is attacked multiple times. My opponent went with qb3 here, but I was considering the move qc2, to which I looked at two options, one queen e7 and other rook e8. I was looking at the line queen e7 mainly because after f3 I thought the diagonal e1 h4 becomes weak. See, after queen e7, f3, there is bg6. We want to exploit the square h4. So after see ne4, ne4, if fe4, then see queen h4 check kd1. This I was considering good for black. But after see ne4, 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 this line also I thought black is winning. Now after qh4, g3, bishop g3, hg, qh1, I thought black is winning, but it was a great miscalculation. I simply missed the move nd6. In this tournament, I will show you that we always say never miss a check, but there were many instances where a simple or an important check was missed by me. Maybe because of playing after many years. So see, here there are big problems now. After cd, qc8, ke7, queen h8, it is black who is in deep trouble. I also had a brief look at the line castle, which I was thinking. After ne4, 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 I was mainly looking at the move rook e8 only. Here too I must confess that I missed the move bb4 check. We'll come to that soon. I thought f3, be4, fe queen check, kd1, rook e4 is close to winning, clearly better for black. Okay, maybe it is, but far superior is the move bb4 check here. After c, bd2 forced takes, queen cannot take because knight hangs on e4. And kd2 queen d5, see, black is far better here. d4 is attacked, then c6 coming up, rook e8 coming up, means this line is perhaps much better than the move re8. Anyways, my opponent played the move qb3, to which I again was thinking of castle and sacrificing the b7 pawn, but I was very unsure after the move c castle, qb7, nd7, nc4, nb6. I was pretty unsure that after nd6 cd how is the position. I felt black has compensation, but I thought maybe it's not enough. But actually the computer suggests that this is a great option because the rook b8 followed by nd5 is there. Knight would jump to b4. This should have been played perhaps. It is better than the move chosen in the game. I played b6. This is a loss of tempo. and after see nc4 here, very obvious move. White wants to free his c1 bishop, so he is not ready to play e3, although I thought he could have done that. And here the best move for white is g4, which many humans would miss, but this is a typical idea, like the reversed French it is. As I said, in French there are many cases where g5 is played. So see, after bg4 and e4, you can make out that this position is somewhat better for white. Bishop coming to g5, rook g1 coming up. White has a very good center pawn mass, and see, I think development wise also is not way behind. This is good for white. My opponent went nc4. He wants nd6 perhaps, I thought, and I just played castle. I thought let him play bg5, then maybe I can do nd7 or rook e8. My opponent went bg5 indeed. I went rook e8, and now see, nd6 can be met by qd6 and bf6 can be met by qf6. My opponent went rook c1, and with rook c1 he has a distinct threat here. Let's say I go h6. I was considering this to send him back bh4, but I soon realized that after bf6, queen f6, nd6, I cannot do qd6 because see, nb5 and c7 is lost. So this position is no good because qf4 now is met by e3 simply, and it is white who is clearly better. Means I have to take cd here, and if I take cd, there also there is nb5. See, my knight is not getting from d7 to f6. So queen f6 and knight b8 position is not that great. So hence I rejected the move h6. I was considering two other moves to stop nd6. One is be7 and bf8, and I found be7 as more convincing because see, d5 is attacked now. Knight takes d5 is a possibility, and even I wanted to use knight g4 in some cases. We will soon see. My opponent here made the first real mistake. He went nd2, actually protecting d5, which was not really required perhaps. He could have gone e3. Now ng4, and here I started to believe that maybe the position is becoming decent. Although I would say still it's not that great. be7, queen e7 and e3 is what he should have done. Maybe I have to prove my point with queen h4 and all. He went bf4. This is definitely a bad move, mistake, because he should have exchanged. The rule says in the opening, exchange in order not to retreat. And now see, here the move bishop f4 is definitely bad. It took me around 10 minutes to find the right move here, and luckily I found the move bd6. The point was that what took me more time was after bd6, I wanted nf2, and if bishop moves I take h1. So after kf2, e3, ke1, ed, kd2, queen g5, check first, forcing the king back to d1 and then take cd. And you can note that the knight is heading to d7 and then see f6 followed by e4 or g4. So f2 and the d2 squares are weak. This position is very similar to the game. My opponent went bg3. This move is definitely bad. To try to figure out what you will play here as black, because I think by now I was beginning to believe that black's development is really well. I had two main candidate moves, knight f2 and e3, and to some extent bg3 as well. bg3 allows hg, to some extent it can allow fg as well. So I wanted to be sure that I am forcing things. e3 can be considered, e3 fe, bg3 hg, qd6 is a really good option, but he can move the c3 knight, queen can cover g3. So nf2 good move. The point is that if king takes f2, then there will be e3 check, and then we have a very similar position like in the game. So my opponent went bf2, e3, and he blundered with the move bg3. I think he should have played be3, takes, and nf3. Still black is a bit better here. Now knight d7 is there, and the knight can aim to go to f6 and g4. Queen e7, rook e8 is also coming up. So here see, white went bg3, which was blunder I think. Instantly the position became winning. He takes d check. Of course I don't want to use bg3 first, because after kd2, queen g5 check, we should not show that whether we want to use bg3 or not, because see, now ke1 is not an option. ke1 would allow bg3 with a check. So that is the point. So he had to go K D1. Anyways, K E1 was not an option. C1 hangs. So here I actually have a choice whether I want to go BG3 or not. That is the main reason of rejecting BG3. Why to disclose that we want to play BG3. Anyway, BG3 is a good move. So I went with that HG. And now what would you do as black? So I felt this move I had seen before and I realized that this is perhaps a winning position for black because of the knight d7, the knight is heading to f6. Now see, after knight b5 my opponent fell into it very easily, knight f6. He realized that he cannot take in c7 because then see, knight g4, knight e8, knight check, ke1, knight takes h1 because now see, c1 and e8 both are hanging. If queen supports the rook, we take e8 and just we are piece up plus a better position of course. So he went rook c7, maybe his threat was to go d6. I went ne4 and now I think it's game over because there is no good way to protect the square d2 as you can see. Queen can't go to c2 because of an f2 check, bishop takes the queen. If queen d3 then also knight f2 check and the queen is lost. Rook c2 is of no use because of this, still knight f2 we can take c2 h1 both. So opponent blundered with the move queen f3 unfortunately and q d2 was checkmate. So I think both of us made several mistakes but my opponent really fell behind in development. That was the main reason. Of course I missed many things. Overall you will see in this tournament what can happen to a player when he plays after many years and maybe my preparation was not up to the mark. So I hope you got to learn something new from this lesson. Do let me know in the comments below. Thanks for your time.